Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Jason Fernandes, co-founder at AdLunam. Jason, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talks special edition for top finalists at 6th edition of Bold Words. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's going to be an interesting chat for sure.
Great, Jason, and looking forward. You're coming to Lisbon next week?
I am. So that's
Awesome.
exciting time.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, looking forward. So, Jason, your work has earned you a place as a top finalist at Bold Awards 6th edition. Congratulations again. Let's hope for the win. Tell us about the AdLumen for people who are not aware of what AdLumen does, um, and
Sure.
and how and what is the differentiation between you and the rest of the competitors out there?
That's a good question. So, I mean, I think what we are is essentially an ecosystem project, ecosystem company. So, part of what we do is we have a social fi platform that is more retail oriented, essentially aims to be the first page of the decentralized world, essentially. And then on the flip side, we have obviously our B2B sort of clients where we provide them with sort of AI enhanced market targeting tools, access to community, and that makes our platform basically a no-brainer for projects that are looking to do a public sale of their tokens or launch on an exchange. Whether that's like our own exchange, which is a DEX, or any of the number top 10 centralized exchanges that we're partnered with. And so we also like for the AdLunam social product, we sort of combine conversations from Telegram and Discord. So we create like a unified hub for discussions around the crypto industry. And so that means people don't need to switch between like Telegram and Discord and various different platforms to have these conversations. And we can sort of be like the centralized, synchronized place for these discussions. And so I think both those things, are B2B and B2C activities, sort of work in concert to create like an ecosystem for Web3 enthusiasts, basically.
Nice. So, who are the marketers? Are the marketers of these crypto companies are the one that they're using your platform? Is that right?
Yeah, that's actually one. On one hand, if you think about Reddit as a community for sort of crypto, it's not the ideal place to have discussions on the internet. Because mostly you have really no idea who you're talking to, right? Like you could be talking to somebody who's never bought a token before, who's never invested, but they'll still have a conversation and talk about it like as if they have some degree of expertise. But with AdLunam Social, which is like a social fi platform, it's very similar to Reddit, but essentially customized for the crypto space. So when you join, you connect your wallet, and so that gives us a bunch of information on the number of tokens that you own, how long you've owned them, and we give badges to display on your profile based off of this. So when people are having a conversation on the forums or the discussions, they know exactly who they're talking to, and they can therefore evaluate whether this person is somebody who they want to trust or whose opinion matters to them, right? And one of the key things when it comes to sort of setting up a social fi platform or any sort of social platform is really how are you going to get the users that are on traditional Web2 sort of discussion apps like Telegram and Discord, how are you going to get them to move onto your platform, right? That's sort of like one of the biggest issues. And how do you get interesting content on that? So one of the things that we've done is we've created a bot that forwards messages directly from Telegram to Discord, and then also AdLunam Social. So people don't need to change their behavior. They can keep chatting on Telegram. They can keep chatting on Discord, and these messages are synchronized to AdLunam. So basically, we increase the amount of data that we have and interesting content that we have, and slowly over time, that makes it like a more attractive place to have to just start these discussions in the first place. But that's going to happen over time. And so the key thing is not requiring a change in user behavior. And that's sort of what builds it out into being a centralized place. And then once that's from a retail end user perspective. But then we also have others, the companies that we're partnered with, right? The companies that are, let's say, launching their token. for a public sale, right? So we have a launch pad, and then we can provide them with deep data on these individuals, these crypto retail communities. What are they talking about? What are their habits? And that allows them to really target their incentives. Like if they're giving out an airdrop, they can actually figure out whether who it is that they really want to target when they're launching their token. And then of course, for our decentralized exchange, it's a sort of the same concept, like having access to that both on-chain wallet data coupled with their social media discussions. Is essentially a gold mine when it comes to being able to, for projects to be able to target their end users. So that's kind of like on two ends. One, you have this sort of retail end user, and then you have sort of the projects that are the B2B aspect of our business.
So Jason, scaling is not easy, right? Every company has always a challenge with that. What was that fueled your company's growth and set you apart in the marketplace?
So, as an ecosystem company, in order to do our job properly and shepherd sort of these early stage projects towards a public sale, we need to be like a one-stop shop for these early stage companies. So we need to be able to help them with advisors, institutional investors, key opinion leaders, like marketing resources, and then also sometimes connect them with other launch pads, market makers, and then exchanges if they're going to launch on an exchange, right? So that's necessitated almost continuous business development. So we have over like 700 groups with multiple companies. Most of them are some of them are projects that are looking at launching, but a lot of them are infrastructure companies, whether that's market makers, exchanges, whether that's these key opinion leaders that can really move the market, and sort of grow that as a community and an ecosystem that we can provide to projects launching on AdLunam Launchpad, right? And so part of that, the reason we've been able to achieve that is because we've been able to sort of leverage our media brand. So we have two Spotify shows, The Future of NFTs and Diving into Crypto. We also have a media arm called Altcoin Observer. We partnered with something like 45 international events, like really all over the world, like Canada, Europe, and so interview some of the biggest sort of movers and shakers in the industry. And that's allowed us to sort of have a really good pipeline of really good companies that we want to partner with, because we're already interviewing them for AdLunam for Altcoin Observer or Diving into Crypto or Future NFTs, and then we move that directly into our ability to turn these into partnerships. And then of course those partnerships are resources that we can then provide to projects that are looking to launch on our launchpad or looking to launch on our exchange. So that's sort of it all sort of melds together. And then of course then you have like the AdLunam Social, which is the more retail oriented thing, and that way it allows them to target the end potential investor for the companies that are launching on the app or the exchange.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Jason, obviously, without the great team, it's impossible to do anything great, right? And so, great
Yeah.
team requires a great culture. How do you build that culture of innovation within team? I mean, it's you have to juggle so many things. The team has to be so aligned.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So I think we have an extremely diverse team, and it's a small team. So it's only like 12 people, 66% of which are women. So it's really diverse. We have team members from like all across the world. I think it's over 8 countries. Some of us are even neurodivergent, and so that diversity results almost automatically in a sort of multidisciplinary or multicultural approach to problems. As it said, sort of automatically builds in this a different. Each person has a completely different way of looking at an issue, and then of course all of them, are able to bring their unique strengths into sort of helping us make those decisions. Beyond that, we have like the team members sort of read and stay up to date to the latest changes in the industry. Because of our sort of media and partnership activities, most of the team members encounter that information just in the course of their normal duties. So they don't really have to, it's not like they have to go out and like read Cointelegraph or something. They basically just figure it out based off of like all the articles that we're putting out on Altcoin Observer, the companies that we choose to partner with. And so that gives them like this real understanding of where the industry is going over time. And then, of course, that also helps in terms of the kind of solutions and ideas that they're able to bring, put on the table.
So you're surrounded by a woman. Your co-founder is a woman.
Yes.
Do you find women more innovative than men?
I found that's it's a loaded question for sure. Well, I think you have different unique strengths for both sides. One of the things I felt is that women seem to be better at getting things done, following through and on plans, and getting it to the end. This is again just my personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're not going to
I
compare.
find I find, like men in contrast might have like really creative ideas, and but then there's a lack of sort of follow through from like this lofty idea into getting it into the brass tacks of what needs to be done. And I think that that's sort of the concept of that is how you end up getting, a good company. So you have people that can really execute and make sure that the individual steps come up with the steps in the first place, and then make
Yeah.
sure those are followed. And I think that tends to be a something that women tend to be better at. I think.
I agree with you. I mean, they keep us more accountable, right? So
Sure.
they're really good at it, following through. Where men is like more like get on set. But
Sorry.
you see, this is what God created us, right? He created man and woman to make something great, and so I
Complement each
agree
other.
with
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
So Jason, in the industry that you're in, obviously there's a lot of things that are changing. There's always this new thing coming up. It's a very dynamic. How do you see the industry evolving in the next 2, 5? I mean, 5 years probably is too much, but next 2 years, let's say like 2, 3 years. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think you're going to have like a lot of centralization in terms of you're going to have like a consolidation of sorts where you have, so for example, if you look at the exchange market, right? I think Binance today I checked they own 33% of the crypto exchange market. 33%,
Only
just that one.
33%.
Yes,
Wow.
of the cryptocurrency exchange market. Yeah, and if you look at the next 10, I think 9 exchanges combined, that barely comes up to the next 34%. Right? So you've got this massive consolidation happening in the centralized exchange industry. I mean, I used to be over at an exchange called XREX, and so a lot of these independent exchanges, I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for them to sort of compete when you have just massive market share by these like big players, right? And so what's going to end up happening is right now people are very happy to go to one place to do a crypto transaction, go somewhere else to like stake their tokens, go to a third place to get their news, go to a fourth place to get discussions. But I think you're going to start seeing that consolidate somewhat, where it's going to be somewhat more of a casino idea where the people come in and then they have access to everything that they need to within that ecosystem. And so I think that's something that we've tried to do with AdLunam, is that we have a SocialFi platform where you have the access, like the retail market where they might come in there. But then if they want to invest in a new token launch, we have the AdLunam app. If they want to make a decentralized exchange transaction, we have the AdLunam exchange. If they want to read news, we have Altcoin Observer. So I think what's going to end up happening is you'll need that sort of consolidation in order to be competitive. You need to sort of be the one-stop shop where everybody can do whatever they need to do.
So it's no longer just an exchange or right or just
Yeah.
a wallet. So it's got to be a multiple things.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because just to add, at when I was at the exchange, the biggest question was how do you build community? How do you get, because ultimately community is what moves the needle. It's where you get your users from, right? And so this becomes a constant question, like how do you build community? How do you access the people that could potentially be your market? And so if you have a solution like what we're trying to build, where you can access like a built-in community and then also get deep marketing, AI insights into what that community is doing and who those individual people are, that can be very, very useful for you as a company, who's, let's say, launching a token.
Yeah. Um, okay, for all you viewers here, we're not doing any financial advice here. I'm just asking a question. Obviously, we're in a bear market right now. Things are boiling behind the back. I can feel it.
No.
What's your what's your take? If there's one crypto centralized or decentralized, which one would you pick?
Bitcoin. Without a doubt, my answer would be Bitcoin. Right? I first invested in Bitcoin in 2013, sometime in July. I think Bitcoin at the time was like $13.
Yeah.
And now, sure, it's gone down since its all time high. I think it was 107. But that's, if you look at the stock market, heck, I would rather be on Bitcoin than Tesla stock. Tesla's down 47% since election day, right? Like Bitcoin is only down comparatively small amount if you compare it to that. So it's been extremely stable, and part of that is probably because you have it's not given to the vicissitudes of individual countries. It's sort of since it's so decentralized, right? You have people from all over the world, and so that sort of manages the risk. In my opinion, I think sort of manages the risk somewhat for like global financial markets. So I think Bitcoin is probably the safest for people that are trying new investments. Other than that, they should definitely look at maybe the top 10, tokens by ranking. But that is also very, very dangerous because memes, for example, that are probably not the best investments are also right now in the top 10 list. And then you look at companies like EOS, which was like a massive company a few years ago in the top 10. I think it was ranked like 5 or 6. Now they don't barely exist anymore, right? So even if you're looking at like the top 10 coins by market cap, it's still, I think it pales in comparison to like the safety of, let's say, something like Bitcoin. If you're a risk averse.
Do you think we will see like the longest bull market this time around?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's something that, believe me, I'm thinking about a lot. I think that we're in unprecedented times. The president of the U.S. has launched his own meme coin. I think they're massively reorganizing the SEC, and people that are sort of were tasked around crypto enforcement have been reassigned. There's just a sort of realignment. For example, like I think recently the SEC came out and said that memes are not something that they will regulate at all, and they don't fall under their regulation. And it probably would be maybe the Commodities Futures Trading Commission that would if anybody regulate it, right? So you have like a complete, I think, reorganization of how crypto is going to be, and this is going to be there at least for the next 4 years, possibly 8, depending on how the market, how not the market, but how the political winds shift. And so at least for the next 4 years, this is the reality that we have, and you're going to start seeing, very, very, very different, a very regulatorily like friendly view at crypto, right? And I think that's the first time we've ever seen, at least since the dawn of Bitcoin, such a crypto friendly administration. Now, whether that's good on the long term in terms of does that actually protect investors? Is there sufficient protections against investors? I don't think that part is as evolved as it should be. I think that there definitely needs to be more protections, and I'm not talking about just like SEC. I'm talking about just there are scams that have happened that people have proved that people have just gone on and moved on from without any sort of a negative blowback to the people involved, right? And that I think is hurting the industry in the long run. That needs to change, or people will just give up on the industry. So there's sort of these two things that are happening. One is that you have like an extremely friendly regulatory environment, but then you have the backlash of that where you're going to have some people that are really going to try to take advantage. And then what does that do to the industry? Does it endure past that? How does it, evolve? That's still up in the air, I think.
Jason, we'll love to do another one, which will be more like a focus on a topic that we can go deep. But this is a short format, a bold talks conversation. What does the word bold mean to you?
Yeah, well, I think it means sort of taking calculated risks, but informed by data analysis. And I think that's important to differentiate from recklessness, right? Like you have to sort of take a calculated risk on one hand, but then also not be reckless about it, right? I think it also implies innovation. As Star Trek would describe it, to boldly go where no man has gone before, right? So I think being bold involves, or at least implies, pioneering new products in some way, either services or maybe even business models. And I think finally, it implies adaptability, right? Because you have to have a willingness to reassess honestly, and then pivot when circumstances change. That sort of being at the forefront is what is it's all about, I suppose. And I think that is something in crypto that is goes 10 times for anybody else. Anybody in crypto really needs to learn how to adapt quickly.
Great. Great to end this. Take a calculated risk and be bold. Jason, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing Lisbon next week. Until next week, have a great one and be bold always, my friend.
Thanks. Great talking. Appreciate
Cheers.
it. Bye.